Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. We have some good stuff today. I'm going to talk a lot more about the NFL than I did yesterday, but I will tell you where I think my top 10 NBA players are going into next season. But right now, I'm going to talk about the NFL. Alright, so, apparently Jerry Jones, he talked over the weekend, and he said, that, basically, he took the blame for the fallout with Jimmy Johnson. Now, coaches don't like when, owners meddle, like they meddle in. And, Jerry Jones was fine until, it got oh, Jimmy's getting more of the credit. But let that work. If you were winning, who cares who's getting the credit? You're winning. You're winning. Why do you care who's getting credit? You're the owner. You're doing your job. They'll realize that eventually. Obviously, they realize it. They realize that you're doing a great job as the owner and that you're the one who built it all. It's just they are also impressed by Jimmy Johnson. And, when owners meddle in to an already good situation, it doesn't go too well. But I don't think Bill Belichick, he really did not like the, Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
What the heck?
Because now what's happening? Bill Belichick is getting criticized for not having a backup plan for Tom Brady, even though he did. Jimmy G was his backup plan. And Robert Kraft traded him away. So, coaches don't like when owners meddle. It's not a smart decision to do that. And think about this. Dallas sports has a big market. They should be much better at sports than they are. Why aren't they? Why have the Texas Longhorns had only three Big 12 titles in 25 years? And why has Dallas only had 3 playoff wins in the last 25 years? Because it's all about ego in Texas and in Dallas when it comes to sports. I don't know what it's like down there otherwise, but when it comes to sports, it's about ego there. And that's why they underachieve, always. Because I think with this, ego is the killer to everything. It kills dynasties. It kills any kind of team. And if any team has egos on it, too much egos on it, you're screwed. And, football, you shouldn't be as egotistical in. Because, think about this, basketball, you're isolated. With, a smaller team. And it's not as much about teamwork as football. In baseball, it's pitcher versus batter. But football, one guy does something wrong and the whole team gets a penalty. The whole team, like an offsides penalty. Or a false start, the whole team has to move back 5 yards or something. So the whole team gets screwed over by it. So football is a sport where you, really can't be egotistical in. You have to be a little humble, at least. You can't be, can't be egotistical in there. You have to be, you have to be a good mix of proud and humble, But that's unfortunately not what Dallas is. Alright, so Texas and Oklahoma apparently reached out to the SEC about joining the conference. But, it just doesn't feel right, almost, And, it's just like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right for some reason. It's like, the SEC is, like, intense. Oklahoma and, Texas seem, like, cool and casual. Like, just doesn't seem like a good fit. But then again, Aaron Rodgers never seemed like a good fit in Green Bay, but he's been there for his entire career. Because Aaron is a California cool guy. Green Bay is, like, hardworking. It's not really about being cool or anything. It's not really Aaron Rodgers. But, he works with it. And, they work with him. So, I don't know, maybe this works. I mean, you never know, but I just don't feel like it fits. Cool and casual teams in an intense conference I don't love it. I do not love it. Alright. So, I saw a picture yesterday, or I think a lot of people saw a picture yesterday. A photo of Ben Roethlisberger. He lost a lot of weight. And I said last season he, looked very out of shape. Not like he's fat. I wasn't saying he's, like, fat or anything, but he looked out of shape. He looked out of it. He didn't look very, he just didn't look good. But there was a photo, and he was very slimmed down, apparently. So, I mean, the problem here is, now I think Big Ben's going to do better than he did last year. Even though his stats say, like, oh, he wasn't bad, he was pretty good. I just don't... I think those stats are a little deceiving. Because, who was he playing against? Like, that was the argument for the Steelers all of last season. Who are they playing against? Who was Ben playing against? You had to watch the games to know he looked very out of shape. He did not look like the normal Ben Roethlisberger. And I'm sure he's going to have a much better season. I expect him to. But the Steelers haven't had... I think they've, like, missed their chance. Because... Think about this. You have to, like, take advantage of the moment. Like, the Packers... Detroit has been an absolute laughingstock. Arguably the worst franchise in the last decade. The Bears have had a rough decade. Up until the last couple years. They've had a rough decade. I mean, the Bears have been up and down. They had an okay decade. And the Vikings were also a little up and down. So the Packers saw an opportunity to win their titles. They won 7 division titles in the last 10 years. So let's look at the Steelers. Like with the Patriots, the Bills, up until this year, they did not have it figured out at all. They had it pretty bad for the last 10 years, up until the last, 2. Then the Jets have been an absolute laughingstock. And then you have the Dolphins, who have been, really up and down. So the Pats saw their opportunity and took it. When you have teams in your division that are laughingstock and up and down, you got to take advantage of that. And the Steelers, think about this. Cleveland and Cincinnati, the last 10 years, have been a laughingstock. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cincinnati had maybe like 2 or 3 good years where they made the playoffs, but other than that, they've really been a laughingstock. And the Ravens were up and down. They obviously had the year when they won the Super Bowl, but they've been up and down for the most part. So that was their chance. Cincinnati and Cleveland were a mess this decade. Like I said, the Bengals had like 2 or 3 good years. And the Ravens were up and down. So that's where you have to seize the opportunity. And, the difference between the Packers and the Steelers and the Pats is that, yes, the Steelers won a lot of division titles like they did, but the Pats, because think about this, your division counts for 6 games. So if you can win those 6 games, that's like almost half the season. So that's huge. So when your division is that bad, I think you should win at least 4 of the 6 games. And the Pats and Packers have finished with the number 1 seed in the NFC a couple of times. Steelers have never finished with a number 1 seed in the AFC. So I think, they kind of, missed their chance to be Super Bowl contenders. And, they were for a couple of years, but then, they would never capitalize on it. So, yes, McMillan lost a lot of weight, which is great, but, they kind of missed their chance here. Alright, so, apparently last week, Aaron Rodgers declined a possible record-breaking deal. And the reason I think he declined this is because he's not in it for the money anymore. He was, like basically every athlete is. They're in it for the money. They want to get a lot, but then it's like, okay, let's start winning. I think that's actually the complete opposite of what Aaron is asking for. He's asking for a little bit more commitment. I think people are really reading too much into what Aaron is asking of. He's not asking for more weapons. That, I don't know where that narrative came from, but it's BS. He does not mind his weapons or his coach. Aaron knows he has the best receiver in the league, a top 5 running back, a top 5 O-line, a tight end. He scored 11 touchdowns, and he knows he has a great head coach. He knows that. And he's just... I think it's gone on for too long. I thought at first it was he was trying to get a bit of leverage, but it's gone on for too long now.